You know, one of the things on keto and low carb that can get a bit tricky is takeaway. And today we are showing you that it is not hard to make your own doner kebab. Let's go. Welcome to Pop Keto, where we aim to help you live a sustainable keto and low carb lifestyle. Today we are talking takeaway. Now when you're on keto and low carb, there are a lot of takeaway options that you're actually going to choose not to have. A lot of them are going to be based around rice or bread, or they're going to have sauces in them that you're just not sure whether they're going to have sugar in them or not. And one of the things that I have missed a lot personally was doner kebab. I really enjoyed it. So today we are going to make our own. Now there's a couple of steps to it, but it is not that difficult. So we're going to do the meat. We're going to make a really nice garlic sauce to go with it. Now, one of the things about doner kebab that we would avoid, I mean, obviously the bread sort of comes to mind straight away, and that's true. But then also the doner meat itself, you know, the big thing that they shave down on the big skewery thing. Now, often a large portion of that is actually breadcrumbs, and that's probably the main reason that I've avoided it. So today we are going to make it ourselves. Now there's a couple of steps to it, but we're going to make the meat, and we're going to make a lovely garlic sauce to go with it, and it is not too difficult. And the other thing we're going to replace is the wrap. We're actually going to do it in a lettuce wrap. So let's get into it. Very first thing we're going to do is turn on our oven. So I've got that preheating to gas mark 5, which is about 190 degrees. First ingredient is some lovely lamb mince. Now this is a 500 grams that I've just got from the supermarket. It's readily available. Now to this lamb, we're going to add a bunch of herbs and spices just to really give it that good kebab flavor. And for no reason in particular, I'm doing that in alphabetical order. So we're going to start off with some baking powder. This is 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And as always, we are using a gluten-free variety just so that we can be sure there's no extra carbs in there that we don't want. Next, we have some ground coriander. This is 2 teaspoons of ground coriander. It's just going to go in there. And that's going to be followed closely by some cumin. Another 2 teaspoons for this, 2 teaspoons of cumin. Now, our next ingredient is garlic. Now, you are free to mince some garlic yourself if you want to, but I'm figuring that we're going to be making this on a Friday night. We want to make it as easy as we can. So I've just used minced garlic from a jar, nice clean version with no maltodextrin or sugars or that sort of thing. And this is 1.5 teaspoons that I'm just going to pop in there. So again, keeping it easy, we want to get some onion flavor into it. So we're going to use some onion powder. Again, checking the ingredients, making sure it's clean. And this is 1/2 tablespoon of onion powder. Sometimes it's labeled onion granules, sometimes onion powder. It's all good. Next we have oregano, and this is just 1 teaspoon of oregano that we're just going to pop in there. Just 1 teaspoon dried oregano. And the last one that we're going to add here is some smoked paprika. And I love the smell of smoked paprika. Oh, so good. All right, so 1/4 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Now with clean hands, we are just going to get in there and mash this all together. We want to get the meat emulsifying so it all sticks into a big bunch. And I'll show you what that looks like when we get there. It's so fragrant already at this stage. Okay, we're getting close here. You can see that it's no longer sort of that mince looking. It's like it's one big meatloafy hamburger thing. And it all sticks together like so. That's it. All right, so we're going to cook that just in one of these. This is just a little loaf tin. And we're just going to pop that in there and press it down. Now when we cook it, it is going to rise a little bit from the middle. So I like to push it down a little bit in the middle so that it comes up to the sides, just so that when it does rise, it evens out a little bit. Easy. That's what it's going to look like. And now we just put it in the oven. So that's going to be in there for about 45 minutes. In the meantime, I've already washed my hands, and we're going to put together some of the other bits to go with it. Starting with a lovely garlic sauce. Now we're actually basing this off mayonnaise, and then we're tweaking it a little bit. Normally a garlic sauce is based off yogurt, and we're doing that because yogurt has a little bit more carb and sugars that we're trying to avoid, so we can control it a bit better this way. And this is actually based off our mayonnaise recipe, which is one of the most popular videos on our channel actually. If you haven't seen that already, I'll put the link above and probably in the description as well, so have a look at that. All right, so this is actually really easy. Do I say that a lot? I feel like I might say that a lot, but honestly, mayonnaise, super easy. So we're going to start with 1/2 tablespoon of Dijon Mustard, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now that 1/4 spoon is a little bit more than the standard mayo, but it's really great in this. We are then putting the juice of a small lemon. Next, we're going to add 3 teaspoons of garlic, and that's obviously going to make our garlic sauce really nice and garlicky. Again, because we're probably going to make this on a Friday or night or a weekend, we want to keep it easy. We've just used garlic paste. You're more than welcome to replace that with fresh crushed garlic. Next, we're adding 1 whole egg. Then we're adding 250 mils of a light olive oil. And we're just going to hit that with a stick mixer. Get all the goodness out of there. Right, tidy that up in a moment. But the last ingredient we're going to now add is half a teaspoon of dry parsley. And we stir that through by hand. And that there is our beautiful garlic sauce. Now, if you want it a little bit looser, you could add a little bit more lemon juice, or even a little bit outside the box, but a little bit of pickle juice would also be really nice in that. You know, just the juice from the pickle jar. Easy. But we'll just give it a quick taste. Ooh, bang, garlic, lemon, good amount of salt. Oh, it's gonna be so good. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside. I'm gonna put it in the fridge just until our meat's finished cooking and we're ready to assemble. All right, so the next couple of things I'm going to do just while we're waiting is I'm going to take off some outer leaves of some lettuce so that I can set them aside for us to wrap the kebab in. I'm just gonna shred some lettuce as well. I mean, you always have shredded lettuce in a kebab. And I'm also just gonna cut up some tomato just by cutting it in half and then just cutting that into slices. And then we're waiting for the meat in the oven before the next step. All right, so it's been 45 minutes, so let's get it out of the oven. All right, there it is. And that looks lovely. Got some nice brown on it. Don't worry, we're gonna do some more browning to it in a moment, but I just wanna show you that it's shrunk in quite a bit from the outside. So right now we're gonna do a couple of things. We want this to cool for a while. So I'm just gonna put that onto a plate to do that. Boom. All right, so we're just gonna let that cool maybe for 10 minutes, just till it's not too hot to touch, because we're gonna slice that up into thin bits like a doner kebab. Now the juices in the pan, we are going to use them. They are still full of lots of flavor that's come out from the meat. So what we're going to do, or shortly what we're going to do, we're going to cook some of the meat again in the frying pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to just use a little strainer, and we're going to just pour these juices through the strainer, catching some of the bigger chunkier bits. But that means that we get some of the flavor that we've already put into the meat to cook in it again. It's gonna just make it really nice and tasty. All right, so we're gonna let that cool and then we'll be back in a sec. All right, so now that that has cooled, we are going to slice it up. Now, traditionally, doner kebab, got it on the big spinner and they shave it off. So we are just gonna cut this into really thin slices, just like this. I like to cut it on an angle. Gives you a good variation of shapes. That is nicely cut through. Now you're very welcome to try it at this point as well, which I will do. Very good. So we're going to make our way through this and just cut it all the way through. So we've kept the oil that came out of the meat when we cooked it in the oven, and basically we're going to cook it again in there, just to mimic how doner kebab meat is often nice and brown, rather than just this sort of plainish brown shade. So we're going to pile it in here on a medium to medium high heat, making sure all the rest of our accompaniments are ready to go, because when this is nice and hot and done, we want to serve it fairly quickly after that. So I'm just loading this up in here, making sure that all the pieces are getting a bit of that flavoursome oil on them. So you're getting a nice little bit of colour on there now. Making sure we get that, share that around. I've probably been a little bit too rough with it in the pan actually. It doesn't normally break up as much as this. You're getting some nice colour on there now. All right, that's getting some nice colour there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it on that batch. Put the next batch in, won't be a moment. All right, that's done, so let's serve it up. All right, so let's put this together. We are going to start with our cos lettuce leaf. Then we're going to put a good scoop of our garlic mayonnaise. You're always going to have a little bit more lettuce on your kebab, so why not? Then we're going to add some tomato. It doesn't have to be too much as you like. At this point, I like to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're gonna add our finely chopped spring onions, which we've sprinkled with a little bit of sumac. Now the reason we use spring onions instead of normal onions, just lower carb really. And then finally our hero, the kebab meat. Look at that. Woohoo! And that's it. Hold that in your hand as best you can, just like a real kebab, and have a taste. That is real tasty. It's a mouthful, that's for sure. You're getting the meat, you get a little crispiness on the meat if you've cooked it right. You got lots of sauce, which is great. Plenty of lettuce. Now, the lettuce wrap, it probably doesn't have the same sort of chew you would normally have for a normal flatbread, but I'll tell you what, hits the spot. So there you have it, low carb kebab. I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. If you do try it, let us know. What do you normally have as toppings on your kebabs as well? I thought about doing some pickly type stuff. I've heard people have cheese on it. What do you normally have on kebabs? So guys, hope that's been a bit of fun. Hope that's been helpful for you. Have a look at some of the other videos that we've got on the channel. And other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.